Once upon a time, there was a young woman named Lily who was deeply in love with her childhood sweetheart, James. They had been together since they were teenagers and had promised each other that they would spend the rest of their lives together. However, life had other plans for them. James had joined the military and was deployed to a far-off land, leaving Lily behind. She waited for him eagerly, hoping for his safe return. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months. Still, there was no news from James. Lily tried to keep herself busy and distracted, but the thought of James never left her mind. She would spend hours staring out of her window, hoping to catch a glimpse of him walking towards her. She would often sit by the phone, waiting for it to ring, hoping to hear his voice on the other end. As time passed, Lily began to feel hopeless. She had no idea whether James was alive or dead, and the uncertainty was tearing her apart. She tried to be strong, but her heart was breaking with every passing day. One day, while sitting by the window, Lily saw a car pull up in front of her house. She jumped out of her seat, hoping it was James. Her heart racing, she ran towards the door and flung it open, only to be met by a stranger. The man introduced himself as a friend of James and told Lily that he had been injured in combat and was being treated in a military hospital overseas. He had sent a letter for her, which the man handed to her. Lily's hands shook as she opened the letter, and tears streamed down her face as she read James' words. He wrote that he was alive and that he loved her more than anything in the world. He apologized for not being able to come home yet, but promised to return as soon as he could. For Lily, the letter was both a relief and a burden. She was overjoyed that James was alive, but the thought of waiting for him indefinitely was daunting. She didn't know how long it would be until he could come home, and the uncertainty was overwhelming. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months once again. Lily spent every moment she could, reading and rereading James' letter, hoping to find some hidden message or clue about his return. She prayed every night, asking for his safe return and for the strength to keep waiting. Lily's life became a routine of waiting. She waited for the postman to deliver a letter from James, waited for the phone to ring, waited for a knock on the door. She spent every moment waiting for the moment when James would come home. Despite the pain and loneliness, Lily never gave up hope. She knew that James would come back to her, and that thought was enough to keep her going. One day, as she was walking home from the grocery store, Lily saw a figure walking towards her. As she got closer, she saw that it was James, in his military uniform. Tears streamed down her face as she ran towards him, and they embraced each other tightly. They both cried tears of joy and relief, grateful to be in each other's arms again. James told Lily about his time overseas and how he had thought of her every moment. Lily shared with James how she had waited for him and how her love for him had never wavered. From that moment on, Lily and James were inseparable. They had waited for what felt like forever, but their love had never faded. They had proven that even the longest wait was worth it, as long as they could be together in the end.